Welcome to the Philantrepreneur Show, hosted by Dr. Victoria Boyd, designed to offer tips, strategies, and insight to empower nonprofits and entrepreneurs with sustainable win-win solutions. The Philantrepreneur Show is sponsored by the Philantrepreneur Foundation, building capacity through education and professional services.
And good morning and welcome. This is Dr. Victoria Boyd, President and founder of the Philantrepreneur Foundation and editor of the Philantrepreneur Journal. And as usual, I am so thrilled to bring tips, strategies, and insight for the business and nonprofit sectors. Can you believe it? It's June already. I mean, I can't. This whole year is just flying past. But that also means some great opportunities are really getting close, and we are just so excited here at the Philantrepreneur Foundation because our programming is growing and we just have so much to offer. And on today's show, you'll have an opportunity to meet one of the Philantrepreneur Foundation's new board members. A couple weeks ago, we had the privilege to welcome onto the board of directors two new members. Frank Hong, founder of and CEO of One World CGI, was on the show in April, and today we get to meet and talk with the second new member, Pat Landaker, founder and CEO of the Ruby Red Slippers Project, as well as Synergy Coaching. I'm just excited to have her join us today, and we'll greet her right after we get back from this quick break.
Support for the Philantrepreneur Foundation provided by WarriorDesign.net, providing services including graphic design, innovative flyers, responsive websites, video editing, and more. Offering next-day services at an affordable rate. For more information, visit us online at WarriorDesign.net.
WarriorDesign.net.
Okay, welcome back. And as I mentioned, we have two new board members on the Philantrepreneur Foundation, and I am so happy to welcome on the show today Pat Landaker. She's a dynamo. We've met a couple times, and it's just been a joy to sit down and talk with her and hear about all of her experiences. But Pat, welcome and say hi to our listeners, and please tell us a little bit about your background and how you happened to end up here in sunny Las Vegas. Welcome, Pat.
Thanks, Victoria. Well, how I ended up here in Las Vegas, it's a long and short story. I'll give you the short version, but I came here from Colorado over a year ago. I had been coming back and forth to Vegas because I had business here and a business in Colorado in the Denver metro area. And unfortunately, I lost my husband a couple of years ago, and I just realized pretty quickly that I needed to get out of this big house and come find myself in a different environment. And so my son had already moved to Vegas where he was born, and I thought, I can't move there. But after a while, I realized it was exactly where I needed to be. So I came here, and I really love living here. I've lived in Summerlin. I just recently moved to Henderson, which I really love. And what I'm doing here now is I formed a nonprofit that I had actually built about 4 years ago called the Ruby Red Slippers Project. And I'm in the throes of amping that up right now and getting some great partners and things like that. So I've been busy. But pretty much coming to Vegas, I think I could hear my husband saying, go, get out of this house, go do something that you're passionate about. And I'm certainly passionate about youth and giving and fundraising and foundations and all of that. So meeting Victoria was just like another godsend. I really enjoyed our relationship together.
Thank you so much. I really personally want to welcome you to our board. It's just exciting when I see someone that actually comes with an excitement and wants to really support what our vision is. But specifically, what attracted you to the Philantrepreneur Foundation?
Well, I mean, a foundation, a nonprofit for nonprofits. I mean, duh, that's pretty easy. I had never heard of it. I'd never seen anything like that. I'm sure there is, but not in the format that you've developed or put together. And it just grabbed me right away. And I think your passion, just in looking at your website, came through. And like I said, the novelty of it. And I had to find out more. And then when I met you, the visionary, it was like, okay, this is just, called me a dynamo. This is a dynamo. And you're just like this complete package of nonprofit knowledge. And the Philantrepreneur Foundation is out, you're giving this knowledge to nonprofits who really need it. And I've been involved with a lot of nonprofits, been on a lot of nonprofit boards, big ones, small ones. And everything you stand for is exactly what's needed because you get so many people that get involved in a nonprofit board. Sometimes it's a call to action from their corporate leaders, and they don't really know why they're there. And thus, a lot of things may not happen as a result. So I think what you do in the various trainings is you're giving them that foundation that they need and helping them understand why they're there and how they can be effective. So I just thought, wow, I get this, and I love it. And
I get excited when
you let me be a part of it.
Well, when somebody gets me, because sometimes, people say, oh, God, she's sort of out there. when they get me, that's just exciting on a whole different level. But also, I was excited to learn about your whole PR and marketing background. That is not my background, really training and curriculum development and programs. That's where I come from. And all of the marketing and things that have happened so far is just by my sheer digging deep into going into training and reading everything I can on it. But you bring a whole different level of the background of PR and marketing, which is so exciting because, in just a couple meetings, you really, took me to task and said, okay, here's how we need to position this. And I was like, oh, God, somebody else can take this on. So, you actually, see that we have several great programs that bring a lot of value. You actually even came to one of our trainings, which was fantastic. It's always great to see things firsthand. And with our mission to build capacity through education and professional services, one big component is our various access to education. For example, that first Tuesday training. You've attended one. So what do you think of that? What value does it bring?
Well, I think it brings tremendous value. But again, people don't know. The beauty of you is that you're letting people know that this is something they need. I think that even in the class I sat in, I thought I knew everything till I met you. I was like, oh, snap, I don't know everything about what I need to know. And so it was really important. My background, I come from my corporate background, being in banking. And so I had to and I oversaw the budget for the Giving Dollar and all of that. And what I saw was a lot of nonprofits or so-called nonprofits or wannabe nonprofits who would come through the door, and they had no clue of why they were there, what they were doing, and I mean why they were in that or started that organization. And they really had no background, no education, no training in what they needed to do and know in order to have a viable, successful nonprofit. And so that was really another one of the things that stood out for me was that you were providing this. And I think the still missing link, no fault of yours, is to have people really connect and understand that there's a missing link. Because a lot of times, people want to get on a board and they just think it's about going and raising money and going out and connecting, people to the organization. And it's really so much more than that. And I think your organization, if corporations let you in the door to train their people who are looking to be on a nonprofit board, I think that's the most important piece of the puzzle, is to have them understand before they get out there board bound and know what they're looking for. It works both ways. Both sides need to know. You need to know what you're looking for that fits your passion, how you want to apply it, how you want to address it, how you want to begin it, and then the organization needs to know what they're looking for as well. And I think you play both sides of that fence really well.
I try to, and that's even partially how the whole term philantrepreneur, entrepreneurs, that's the business side. Philanthropy is the, philanthropic side. And I just saw that the two were so highly connected, and they needed to understand each other. And there is a strong bridge that crosses over for, the community's sake. Nonprofits are a big asset, and unless they can truly be effective and efficient being that nonprofit, they really aren't contributing to the community as much as they really could. And I just saw that so many nonprofits could be doing so much more if they just had a little bit of knowledge, a little bit more to take them to the next level. And that's where I get excited. I love watching individuals or organization reach their full potential or have those aha moments. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, let me do that. Let's try that. And you sort of even mentioned, that there's so many individuals, companies out there that want to serve on boards but really don't have a clue. And we're going to talk about that program a little bit later. But another program that we're launching that actually is how we sort of got connected was through a networking platform. We both belong to the Henderson Chamber of Commerce, which does a lot of networking, and via this what I call the referral and how people connect people, that Rolodex of people, one of the Henderson Chamber members reached out and connected us or, recommended us together, and that, it really worked. And in this community, and we talked about this at our board meeting, that there really wasn't a networking opportunity really geared or focused on what nonprofits need. And so we created and we're launching our NPO networking breakfast. And a couple of people have said, oh, no, not another networking event. However, I think this one will be different and really bring value to, all the attendees, because, no, I'm not just focusing on nonprofits, but I'm trying to bring together the nonprofit and business sector. So it's not like a cold call, but they're starting to bring and build relationships. So, I know you go to a lot of networking. You're a member of Rotary and a lot of things. So what have been some of the experiences with the value of networking? Because many nonprofits, they don't get it. So let's try to help them understand why they need to come to a networking breakfast.
Well, I think what you just said stems from the fact that when they do go to networking things, whether it's a chamber event or a nonprofit event, it's a lot of glass clinking and cheese eating and business cards handing out, and nobody really has their ducks in a row. You and I talked about having that quick pitch, that thing that just sums you up, that thing that immediately engages that person you're speaking with. So I think a large part of it is both sides really going in and not knowing how to communicate who they are and what their purpose is. And I think networking definitely allows, that's what it's meant to be, but I think there needs to be a new twist on it. And I think that your networking breakfast is going to highlight some of those things, how to connect differently, so to speak, what to come to that with, because people still come armed with the same things, and they're not really ready to make the connection. And so it's almost like what do we talk about, Victoria? The speed networking. Yeah. Where you have to come like you're trying to find a date, child.
The Jack, what is it? The blackjack dealer of your networking cards.
Exactly. I mean, you really do, and I think that a lot of people just don't approach it. I think people generally come to get something out of it, not come to put something into it. At least I find that to be the mindset when people come to networking events. And like you said, I've been to I've been on a lot of chamber boards, a lot of different boards, and I've been to a lot of what I call glass clinkers. And a lot of people fall off by the wayside not because they didn't come to the right event or they didn't connect with the right people. It's that when they did connect, they didn't bring their A game, or they didn't bring what they
Mm-hmm.
want. You know, they didn't communicate the nuggets, the little nuances of what's going on. And then for a lot of people, too, there's just a fear or not knowing how to really approach people. And you and I talked about that, like, you know, to help people understand how do you approach somebody and use those little valuable seconds you have. I think the networking breakfast is going to be a great opportunity to help people align and,
right.
you know, really use the opportunity.
Even from the premise of it, I mean, we're talking about building capacity, building community, you know, as our tagline, and, you know, connect, promote, and build. It's not about, you know, put your business out there. It's more, how can you help someone else? I think we're taking from a different position how we want you to come to it. And, you know, even to mention, you know, come tell your story. A lot of the nonprofits don't even know what their story is.
Exactly.
Or, you know, what they should be saying. So we're talking about this networking breakfast. It's going to launch July 7th. That's a Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And the reason we're doing it early because they can come, start their day, do some networking, do something that's, you know, will help bring some value to their organization, and then go on off to work. And, you know, it would be what I call a positive launch of their day. They'll meet some great people, and for this first one, we're still looking for what we call our featured sponsor, and I think that's another unique element we have for this breakfast. We're only going to have 6 available what I call vendor spots or tables set up. You know, some networking things, they have tons. I've gone to, you know, some that have 100, you know, and you know, and that's what their format is, and it works for them because they're trying to pull 500 or 600 people through the door. But when you have that many people, how can you, you know, really build what I call a relationship that, you know, you set up actual time to meet again? And so ours is going to be what I call an intimate setting, only 6 feature sponsors, and we're calling the sponsor, those are vendors. And then, you know, nonprofits can have a chance to talk one-on-one to every vendor that's there, and vice versa. Everyone will have a chance to talk, you know, to meet each other. But also, we're going to give them a full buffet breakfast, and I'm, you know, happy that we did get a breakfast host and sponsor for that. And we're going to be meeting at Winchell's Pub and Grill, the one in North Las Vegas. Hopefully, we'll be able to also bring on the Henderson location. But we're going to be up on 5445 Simmons in North Las Vegas, and that will be July 7th from 7 to 8:30. And we encourage everyone to go to the Philantrepreneur website because we have a full registration page, not only for anyone who wants to attend, but we're looking for what we call those founding sponsors. And it's very, very reasonable in order to be a sponsor for this launch event. So please go and check that out on our website. It's live and active. You can register today. Had it checked out because Pat tried to use it, and I had to fix it.
Oh, that Pat, she is all up in your business.
No, well, you know, on my end, I don't know. It was I don't know, me and trying to get those links going, but it's all fixed now. Everything has been fixed. So, we're really excited to bring this new type of program. But once again, it's still the premise is education. It's really teaching people how to utilize those networking time effectively. So I'm excited to talk about that. Okay, we're going to take another quick commercial break here, and be right back as soon as here we go. Okay, here we go. Commercial break.
The Philantrepreneur Foundation. Build your capacity with our educational programs and professional services. Learn how to be a philantrepreneur, maximize your social impact, and maximize your revenue. Visit thephilantrepreneur.com or philantrepreneurfoundation.org to find services, resources, and training to launch, enhance, or improve your business or nonprofit strategy. While there, sign up to receive the Philantrepreneur Journal digital publication. today's Philantrepreneur Show tip.
Being on a nonprofit board of directors, as we've mentioned, is not something that should be taken lightly. Often the effectiveness of the board has a direct correlation to the organization's success. Many individuals, and even the most seasoned professional, join a nonprofit board with a passion for the cause, but little knowledge of how to be a good nonprofit board member. There are unique aspects needed to lead a nonprofit, but the rewards are priceless.
The Philantrepreneur Journal, a quarterly digital publication reaching over 600,000 entrepreneurs and nonprofits. Get targeted exposure to reach your ideal customer with our unique Ads for a Cause, where 50% of the fee goes to support our nonprofit training and services programs. Together, we can make a difference, create impact, and build capacity. Visit thephilantrepreneur.com, Marketing Ads tab for all the details. Mention this show and get a 10% discount.
Okay, welcome back as we continue our conversation with Pat Landaker, a new Philantrepreneur Foundation board member, and she is founder and CEO of the Ruby Red Slippers Project and owner of Synergy, a consulting and coaching firm. We're extremely excited to talk about our next two programs. Both of these are near and dear to my heart. And we started out talking about boards and leadership and individuals coming from different aspects of life to join nonprofit boards. And that's why I just saw a great need in just working with all of the nonprofits I see. Yes, they come with that passion, but the members of the boards really didn't know how. They wanted to, but they didn't know how to be a strong leader. So the Philantrepreneur, I can't even say my name now, the Philantrepreneur Foundation has now created what is called the Board Leadership Certification Program. And we'll talk a little bit about our other signature event, Impact Learning. But Pat, first, the Board Leadership Intensive. You are a certified leadership coach. So for you, how important, or maybe I should ask, can individuals really develop leadership skills through training?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's something innate and inherent to start with in individuals that we kind of glue all the other stuff to. But I absolutely do believe that you can grow your leadership skills through training. Certainly, I've had just about every kind of leadership training course that there is. And but, you know, the one important thing is that I think people have to understand what leadership is, you know, and that because it means different things to different people. But leaders, you know, they set direction, they help themselves and others to do the right thing and move forward. But to do this, you know, they have to create an inspiring vision and then motivate others and inspire others to follow that. And I think it all really starts, and I don't know, Victoria, if this is a part of your program, but I think it all is based in emotional intelligence. Because I think for a leader to be a great leader, they have to have emotional intelligence. And so in the training aspect of it, I know a couple of the courses I've taken, they really focused in on that initially, and just to make sure that people understand what being a leader means. And
right.
So I know that your program will highlight and feature that. That's almost like the first thing to kind of gauge people's understanding of that, because I'm a true believer if you don't have emotional intelligence, you probably can't lead very well.
Absolutely. And I believe in what is called a legacy leader format or intentional leader format and did some work on it before where, yes, you're a leader, but to leave a legacy means that you're bringing up or supporting the next generation. And you can only do that by being a teacher to them and not just dictating, but getting in the trenches and sharing the direction that you want them to go and lead by example, and then give them the opportunity to take on leadership roles. There's many aspects to leadership, and I don't think everyone understands the whole theory of leadership, and so that's where our leadership program will start with. What is leadership? What are the different aspects of leadership? What are the different types, and where do you fit? What is your personality, and all of those other areas that actually impact your leadership style. So we'll be doing what I call fundamental leadership training, and then directing it into more. Now you're in a leadership role or want to have a leadership role as a board member for a nonprofit. How does that shift? What changes have to occur? What mindset do you have to have because you are a nonprofit? Because, I mean, there are board of directors that get paid. That's in the for-profit world. You know, there's some motivation that is monetary for them. But as a volunteer board member, the leadership, what is going to keep you motivated to maintain that leadership role? And so we'll be covering all of those skill sets, as I call them, in that first module. And just to go over what the whole certification program looks like, it consists of 16 hours of, I want to say, content-driven learning. And that's not 16 fluff hours, though. That's 4 different modules of 4 hours each, and they're intensive, and that's why we're calling this intensive. They'll start with leadership, and then we'll go into governance, which is, once again, very unique for the nonprofit sector. And every board member, you know, like you mentioned earlier, they think, oh, well, I need to fundraise. Yes, so we're going to dive deep into fundraising, what it really means, and sort of bust some myths, as I want to call it, and relieve some of that fear factor, because you'd be surprised how many board members come on and, okay, so what do I have to do? You know, and it's really letting them know they have options and how to be more effective in their fundraising skills. And then we're going to wrap it up by pulling all of those 3 components together into an assessment, because now in this day and age, assessment internally and externally is so important for their transparency, viability, and sustainability. So the 4 modules are leadership, governance, fundraising, and assessment. It's going to be exciting because we'll cover the foundations, the background, rationale, skill development, the nonprofit nuances, and then give them some real strategy so that they can really hit the ground running. But also, this will help nonprofits who are out there looking for what I call qualified board members to sort of come to a database, because we're going to keep a database or directory of all those that have gone through our training, who we've given this certificate. And they also might want to think about, okay, so you already have board members. Maybe you need to encourage your board members to attend this so that you know that they have the fundamental information. I don't know. It's just exciting. You know, you're a new board member, and you know you have your own nonprofit. Are those 4 areas, focus areas, that you see as viable or crucial,
yes.
or maybe you have another one?
Yes.
You just blanket
yes. Because, you know, in the many boards, especially nonprofit boards I've been on, all of these things are so important to understand, especially governance. I mean, I say governance and assessment because I think those 2 things kind of get left off. Governance is just so important, and understanding your board and how to make it more effective, and who's doing what, and you know what lanes there are, and what legal aspects, and all those different things are really important. And a lot of times on nonprofit boards, there's one individual that may know all of that, and they kind of, okay, you're the so-and-so. Well, I always disagree with that. I think it's important that all the board members know a little about all of these things. Now, somebody may be the one who goes out and wears the T-shirt about it, but these are all so important. And like I said, leadership is so key. And I think another thing with nonprofit, because, see, nonprofits tend to think, at least this is my finding, that they have to just take whatever. I believe that look, for my board, I am like putting you through some FBI. You know, I need to know. I need to know what you bring to the table. I need to know how you're going to engage and mesh, and how you're going to carry the mission and vision of my organization out there. You know, there's this new trend, I don't know when it started, I'm going to say I noticed it about 10 years ago, of getting all these corporate people on a board. It's almost like in there when they get hired for the job, okay, now go find a nonprofit board to get engaged with. And then it kind of shifted over to go find a nonprofit board to get engaged with who will allow this company to have people in place to be engaged as well. And then it just, you know, and so this is why your program is highly important, and I would definitely put those words in whatever is going out to get them to your program, because they have to have a better understanding, but they have to know that we get it, and we know that the changing trends and everything, and we're in step with that, and let us tell you this is how you want to manage it, because if everybody is empowered on both sides of the coin, everybody has the base knowledge, everybody knows why we are here together, why we are doing this together, then it's a win-win-win-win-win. And you know now, Victoria, with these new B Corps and all of this, you know, a lot of companies, I mean, they're not that new. A lot of companies have been doing it for a long time, but they've kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like, okay, this is how we benefit ourselves and we benefit our community, and I think that that has to be a piece of that message that's in training, you know, to understand better how to take your company, and that's the really win-win-win for you, because you're so able to go out and make that connection for corporations who are going to say, well, you know, we give to this and the employees like that, and employees want to be engaged. Employees want to be hands-on. Employees want to understand why they're doing this. And some of the best ideas of why, of answering those whys and hows is going to come from your employees. So I would say make sure that your employees are all engaged in your decisions and your how you're going to use that giving dollar and you know how you want to be involved with that nonprofit. And a lot of times it's just key people are sent out, key people come back, this is what we're doing, and everybody else is like, well, I guess that's what we're doing. And they feel left out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, I mean, because I've met with a couple, well, more than a couple of organizations that I know, banks and different businesses, that one of their requirements is, like you said, employees go out and get involved. And so they do it just because they have to. But I think giving them some
empowering them.
Yeah, empowering them with these skills so that they actually understand that they can make a difference. And it's not about just representing their organization, their company. It's about them taking, with the approval of their company, you know, letting them do this, go out and really make a difference that will impact not only the community but the nonprofit, and then it will trickle back to the corporation of the impact they have. It's impact investing, it's meaningful marketing for them, and then it's finding that congruence of alignment, because we hope that these employees of these corporations will actually find an organization that is a passion of theirs, because
it fulfills their passion, absolutely.
Yeah. That should be, you know, a key criteria first and foremost. But passion isn't enough. And I've said that, you know, even though I love the visionaries, the founders of nonprofits, they have been touched by either a pain or a passion. But it still has to go a step further. If they don't possess the acumen, business acumen, or the skills to manage and put together an organization with the right systems and operations, then they need to go out and either let someone do it for them. They're still the visionary. They're still the founder. The passion is still there. Or get the training and the knowledge to help them move it forward themselves. But they're always going to need to. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the corporations and their employees, they want to make a difference and everything like that. And you're right, the days of one of the first boards I was ever on years and years ago was the Comitas Crisis Shelter, still there in Colorado, dealing with homeless and alcoholism and drugs and stuff. And the founder, Barney Barnhill, long since passed, but this man literally built this organization by the Brother Can You Spare a Dime model. And it worked for years, and it worked for years until, grants and different things started asking and requiring more. And that was quite a challenge, for poor Barney, because that was not how he was used to raising money. But in the old days, just the pulling of those heartstrings and a visible need could do it. But now there's got to be education and finesse and expertise and knowledge. It's got to be all of that involved now. And that's why I think the program, the leadership program, is so important. If corporations could understand the value they bring to the corporation, really, and the fact that they have happy employees who feel engaged, who are now hands-on, or in the mix, doing the do, I think that's so important because they're really going to be the driving force. And all corporate heads want is to have, they first want their goals aligned with the vision aligned with the bottom line, aligned with the,
congruence of interest.
Exactly, just like you call it, girlfriend. Yes, exactly. And but the other side of that is those people who are holding up the corporation with their palms. They have to get something out of it too, and I think that's what really corporations are learning, and that's why your program is so important because it puts the keys to that right in their hands. And I guess our role is to really get out there and explain and give that visual that this is what you're going to get. We're going to put it right in your hands. You're going to design it. It's like in coaching. People come and they think I'm just going to, go do this, take 3 pills, turn left, and then you're going to be good to go. No, I'm asking you questions because you have to drive this bus and you have to drive it and take it where you want to go so that when you leave my office or this program, you're going to have everything you need to keep yourself going, motivated by your own gas, the gas you created, you designed.
Actually, we only give them the toolkit, and that's what I usually call all of what their takeaways are. You're going to have a toolkit to go in and mold and model what it is you need to have to serve whatever organization, because all organizations are different, but there are some foundational and basic items that every organization needs to have in place. And these are, some of the business strategies, just going back to the fundamentals of what it takes to manage a business and that leadership. But then because you're not selling a product per se, you're selling a passion and emotion, a cause where you have to really emote that from deep down inside, or other people will see that you're not authentic. And so, that's right. So it's really, how are you going to use your passion effectively and do it right? I'm really excited to be able to, help a lot of the corporations or just anyone that has a vision to serve. I mean, people come up to me, I want to be on a board. Oh, great. So now here will be some strategies, and they'll walk away with a toolkit, something in hand to be able to use moving forward completely, no matter what type of board they might be on. I mean, it's really exciting. And so this intensive, is going to actually launch Friday and Saturday. Yes, it's 2 days, 8 full hours each day, actually 9 when you throw in the lunchtime there. Friday and Saturday, August 12th and 13th. And we did it on a Friday and a Saturday because I believe that your training should be a part of your workplace strategies. It should be like a meeting that you put in your calendar. But also, I know sometimes until people or organizations really understand the value, they don't want to really give up that. So Friday and Saturday, we're trying to appease both sides there, but we wanted to give it to you in one burst of information. For some people that are not used to what I call intensive program training, it might be a little too much for them. But bear with us. You know, I'm a trained educator and trainer, and I'll make it fun for you. We also have Linda Lizakowski, who is infamous around the world for her training and the service she has done in the nonprofit sector. She's been honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award from Association of Fundraising Professionals. She's written 14 books, and so she is a wealth of information. And as we build out this whole curriculum, we might be bringing on other trainers, and I know eventually I'll be doing a train the trainer format where we can replicate this and take it to other areas. I was just contacted yesterday about doing it back in Michigan, so and I was contacted a couple weeks ago about bringing it to Houston. So we've already have some traction. Now it's about, okay, let's keep this thing really packaged here. But, I mean, I'm just extremely excited because once we put out what we were doing, it was like, how fast can we get it? You know. So now it's a matter of getting it out to the people. Because there is such a big need there. And as we talked about yesterday, we're trying to, not yesterday, see, my days are really going fast here. As we talked about earlier, we're filling a gap. And, you know, what's exciting with talking to you, Pat, you seem to see those gaps immediately and what we're trying to do. And I guess that's why just, you know, the first time I met you, I just felt that this was going to be a long-term relationship because, I mean, we're on the same page on so many different topics and levels and things like that. Getting back to some of these corporate viewpoints, I know back in 2009, I was at what is called the IEG Sponsorship Conference in Chicago, and that was one of the first times they formally presented the change from doing what is called cause marketing to meaningful marketing, that corporations wanted, what is the return on investment? What is our ROI when we deal with these nonprofits? And you mentioned, you know, the organization in Colorado, you know, just, you know, feeding the homeless, and he was just, you know, going from gut, here's the cause, you know, help us with what you have. That model does not work anymore. And so board members also need to understand that. And that's why our component of that whole fundraising model, we'll be talking about revenue streams. We'll be using business terms. We'll be looking at how do you look at profit margins? How do you look at, you know, what return on sponsorship or what return on investment are you getting? But also we'll be teaching them business terms in marketing and in the value of different strategies. And so we're going to go from cause marketing to meaningful marketing. We're going to let them know how to talk about impact investing. We're going to let them learn about congruence of interest and just all of these things that really position them as a nonprofit to be knowledgeable and come to the table with what corporations and some of their future partners might see as, okay, they're viable too. Not only that, but they're viable because they understand what we need.
One of the things that I think, and I don't even know if this is in your program, but that should really be addressed or put at the front is millennials and how their giving model is so different, and their ROI, their expectation is so different. And I learned a little bit about this. I have a friend who works at Zappos, and, you know, they're just all the way different over there. And I'm I'm wondering if there was some way we worked out, got Tony Shea over here to talk about how he managed these millennials and how they get along so well and how they really have a clear vision about what the purpose of the company is and all that kind of stuff. And he just seems to really have a handle on that. But I think that has to be a piece in the corporate side. They really have to start addressing that group of people and how to engage them in that giving side and that community support side and all of that. And I'm just throwing that out there because that's huge. That's huge right now.
In his book, Delivering Happiness, which is, a lot of my foundational work, I read that book and took it to heart because I have what is called a philanthropic culture. I believe in creating cultures, and that's what Tony Shea did. He created a culture for the entire Zappo community. And so a lot of what I talk about in my classes at UNLV and in the training I do for the Philantrepreneur is building a culture of evaluation, building a culture of philanthropy, building a culture of learning. Everything rotates or revolves around the culture you have within your nonprofit. And I believe the board, being that at the top of that pyramid, they're the one to set the stage for what that culture looks like. And then it's up to staff and the rest of those in the operations side of it to deliver it. And so, yes, that whole culture and what does your organization, how are you addressing where we are in time right now. Also another book, The Pendulum, where we talk about the we and me culture. We are in a we culture, which directly addresses the millennials. Yes, that will all be in it. Okay, I need to get to our next topic because we have just talked our way through this hour almost.
As we always do.
As we always do. But I have to announce that our next signature event, which I'm extremely excited about, is Impact Learning International Conference, October 20th through 22nd, right here in Las Vegas, actually Henderson, but everybody knows the term Las Vegas. And, I mean, we have some outstanding speakers coming for the conference. Early bird registration is open right now on our website. I got to go and get that early bird registration. But you weren't here for our last conference, and it was phenomenal. Not so much by how many people we have, but the caliber of people that showed up. We had people from Colombia, Nicaragua, Canada, all across the United States come to our conference, and they wrote fantastic testimonials and evaluations, which just, it set me on the momentum. Okay, we got to bring it back again this year. We have to come and match that same caliber. And I think we have. For example, we have Stephen Shattuck. He's vice president of Bloomerang, and they're a data management and software. And he's going to talk about that and even how to launch a cause. We have Kellen Cosman. He's partner at Advise Media Group, and he really focuses on effective digital strategies. But what's great about him, he is one of those millennials. He went out there, and he's a young guy, and he created this blog, and in 1 year had 1 million followers. So that's exciting. Right. And then we have Dahlia Masachi. She's coming in from Oakland, California, and she is a master of writing and telling and communicating your story. So you're going to learn how to communicate your mission and message the best way to move people to action. We have Erin McCarthy. She's a lawyer coming in from Houston, and her focus, even though, she's in the corporate sector right now, but her focus is governance and how it impacts a funder's view of an organization. I'm so excited to bring her in. Then we have Ellen Bristol, all the way from Miami, Florida. She's the CEO of Bristol Strategy Group, and she does a whole research-based, and this is going into that whole assessment area, but for effective fundraising, which is so important now. And I've mentioned Linda Lizakowski before. She's an advanced certified fundraising executive, one of only about 100 that are in the whole country. Author, she's going to be doing some fundraising development and business community strategies. And so our presenters will really be focusing on how to improve your fundraising strategies, which we talked about a lot today, that fundraising is one of those things. It's the necessary evil, but it can be so rewarding if you get it right, because it helps you take your mission forward. It helps you do what you were there to do. Two other things that we're working on and building for this conference, which are brand new. I'm going to have a community panel discussion, and it will be on building capacity and building community. As you know, building capacity is a part of our mission, and many people don't understand what building capacity really means. And so I'm going to bring some leaders in from across the sector so that they can give their input on what capacity means in their sector and how we can all sort of work together. That's going to be exciting. But our big thing that it's a sort of linked to our networking breakfast. We're going to do the first annual Nonprofit Awareness Day, and it's something that's not done in the state. Yeah, it's going to be a new event. We're tying it to our conference because it's sort of easier for us to link it all together. But that Awareness Day will include the panel discussion. But it's about bringing people together first, so nonprofits can connect with each other, but also they can tell their story to the community in a format that's designed for that. We're going to be giving some community awards out. We're going to be helping you build relationships, but it's all to help nonprofits tell their story and build awareness for them, what they're doing, and how the community can in turn help them. So I know you weren't here, but I hope you're excited as I am about what's coming up for the Philantrepreneur Foundation. You have anything to add with this conference thing? I know we're going to be working shortly to really get this out there.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't. I think that you've really encompassed everything, but I just think it's important that nonprofits step out of I'm going to just call it, brother, can you spare a dime, and really move into the 21st century of nonprofit and how that they build themselves, building capacity, a word which, I know you have to explain, because when I've mentioned it, you have to explain it. And we'll definitely be accomplished at this thing. But I think that what you're giving is the opportunity for them to step out and be a part of the new world of nonprofit.
Yes.
I think it's really important, and I'm just really excited and proud that you've allowed me to be a part of it, And
oh, absolutely. And your whole brother, can you spare a dime? I call that charity think or poverty mindset.
Exactly.
They have to beg, borrow, and plead just to get a dime, whereas they should be looking internally, how do we build our assets? How do we use our assets? And how do we become sustainable on our own without having to beg for that? So they can go from survival to thriving. And that's the day. Go ahead.
And how do I get the funders, the donors, to come to me? I mean, I think nonprofits have to start thinking in terms of like they are a business. Philantrepreneur, you're a business. How do you get people to come to buy from your business? How do you get people to come or want to know more about your business? And that has to become the mindset for nonprofits, so that I can't imagine anything better when they come to you, wanting to be a part of you. And that's really a goal that I think nonprofits should have set for themselves, So if they can accomplish that,
absolutely. And that's, we both think from that marketing perspective. A good business out there, they market, and what they move people to action to come to them.
To action. That's right.
When I buy something, I go out looking for a specific thing because I've heard about it and I want it. I want it now. So the nonprofits need to think in the same. Make your story so compelling that people are driven to you to support whatever it is you're doing.
That is so true, Victoria. I think that they really have to understand that they have to create a story that doesn't scream, like I said, brother, can you spare a dime, but yet, become a part of something vital, something that's really affecting the community in a positive way. Get on board this happy train. Whatever it is, just a little tweaking of the wording that's probably been used in the past, because people also want to be a part of something that's strong and viable, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I think that's an attraction that nonprofits have tended. Look, years ago, I oversaw a big budget for the bank. I did the PR marketing, I oversaw the Giving Dollar, and it's money. And it was always amazing to me that people, when people found out I was there, because I'd been a community activist and people knew, and they saw I was over that money come in, and, hey, I want to do this and that. And oh, okay, great. Well, I'll tell you what, come by, bring your brochure, your information, and, let's see what we can do. And they would come and say, oh, I don't have a brochure. Or I have this third generation printed 5 million times, copied over brochure. Or I can just tell you what it's about, and then be mad at you because you were like, really?
Yeah. Sorry,
I'm overseeing this conservative bank's Giving Dollar, and I'm just going to go back and say, hey, imagine this. There's some kids, and they need and so I think there's still a lot of that mindset, and it just has to change. And I think that this is an opportunity for your program to really educate and get people out of that, because they don't know the option. They don't know the new wording. They don't know the new trends. They don't know all of that, but you're going to be able to provide that. So I think it's really behooves a corporation to kind of put their people in place so they can hear that firsthand and really go back and build something around that notion, or that idea, that new trend, So I'm excited from that aspect.
Okay, and I'm going to end with your excitement. Thank you, Pat, so much for joining us today. If our listeners want to contact you in the future, what is the best way to contact you?
Well, they can either go to my website, rubyredslippers.org, or they can call me, 702-749-7711.
Absolutely. I hope they reach out to you. You're a wealth of information, and I know we'll be talking soon. But thank you again for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. The Philantrepreneur mission is building capacity through education and professional services. We know how valuable a professional image is to your success, and it starts with a professional business address. TPEF now offers entrepreneurs, nonprofits, anyone that needs the benefits of a virtual office, our professional office services, in 2 locations. Yes, one in Henderson and one in North Las Vegas. It's an address plus so much more, networking, training, and even services. So visit pcclv.org/member for all the details. This has been a great show. Please join us for our next show when we welcome another guest with valuable information. And in the meantime, we ask, are you a philantrepreneur?
Thank you for tuning in to the Philantrepreneur Radio Show, hosted by Dr. Victoria Boyd. Get involved. Follow us on Facebook and other social media outlets. If you wish to share comments or suggestions or appear as a guest on our show, visit www.thephilantrepreneur.com. Contact Victoria Boyd. Email her at theboyd@thephilantrepreneur.com. The Philantrepreneur Radio Show is a production of and sponsored by the Philantrepreneur Foundation, a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.